in the way that I know that we can. And when I say we, I don't mean like, oh, we're not doing it, but I really mean you're not doing it. No, I genuinely mean all of us, like collectively, we're not. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently because it's the end of 2023, and I'm looking back at what I did, what I didn't do when it comes to protecting or helping parents protect their kids online, being in this industry, being in cybersecurity, being in threat intelligence. And that reminds me, if this is your first time catching me live, I'm Cyber Frida. I'm an award-winning Forbes 30 Under 30 internet safety expert. I have a background in cybersecurity, threat intelligence, online gaming, being 18 online that never listened to her parents. They set rules, they set guidelines, expectations. I broke all of them because I was like, you don't understand the internet, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm not listening to you. And yeah, that's that's how I'm here. That's how I'm talking to you, because I think most teens have been through that. And when I got into this field in cybersecurity and threat intelligence, I didn't really connect it too much to my childhood experiences. I connected through it as I was in the field and talking to more people and doing lessons and interactions and workshops and all of that. And then I realized, wait a minute, this actually connects. I thought it connected because I loved technology and I loved knowing how the internet worked and how things worked, which is true. But there are other reasons why it connected with me deeply and why I believe this is where I'm meant to be. What I'm seeing a lot when it comes to the child's internet safety field, other people who talk about this, when I'm looking back at my own content, the things that I've posted on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Pinterest, you name it, where I posted, there's a lot of focus on parental controls and parental monitoring and technology and AI and machine learning and things changing and all of the things that we're all worried about. And they're all very, very necessary worries, because if they were not, then we wouldn't be worried about them. I mean, I know that we all like to worry about things that may not actually be a worry, but those are actual things to get worried about how much information we're sharing about kids online, how much information grandparents and parents and aunts and uncles and cousins and whatever share online. But I think the one thing that we are all missing, and that I have been missing in my own content in 2023, and I did touch on it and other people have touched on it, but not in the way that I believe that we really actually need to, is the deep need, like the deep need for parents, for kids, for teens to reconnect with themselves and to go to therapy. And I know that sounds crazy, because it's like, what do you, every time I talk about this, people are like, what do you mean? And I'm like, no, genuinely, seriously. Like, a lot of things that we see happening online is a human problem, right? It's not just a teen problem. It's not just a Gen Z problem, millennial problem, boomer, Gen X, whatever it is. It is not necessarily that. Of course, there are other factors that get into the problems that teens are facing online. But a lot of it truly, 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 if we were to focus on things outside of technology, you'll be able to protect your kids, and we will be able to protect ourselves in bigger ways than we could ever imagine. It really does not matter, and I know this is crazy, but it does not matter what new technology comes out. It does not matter what new game comes out, new social media, new thing that's attached to AI, kids talking to AI. Will that present problems that we may have not anticipated, or we didn't anticipate, but going through that is really challenging? Obviously. Like, genuinely, obviously, that's going to happen. But you don't have to understand the ins and outs of TikTok, Instagram, Discord, Snapchat, Twitter, Reddit, whatever random app on the internet for you to protect your child. I see this come up a lot, where it's like, well, I don't understand how Discord works. And I understand wanting to know how it works, and it is helpful to know. But if you want to know, obviously you can Google something. You can ask your kid, hey, can you walk me through how this app works? Like, I don't understand this. How do you have fun this? How do you play this game? What are you supposed to do? What is the objective? What do you find fun? What do you wish that I knew about the game? Obviously, those are really, really good ways to learn about the game, and I talk about it all the time. But genuinely speaking, the common denominator on protecting your kid stays the same. Generally, that's English. Generally, no matter what the app is. so long as you've developed a safe space within yourself. And all that means is that you're working through, no one is finished. We're just working through the childhood trauma and the emotional wounds, the triggers that we have, things that have happened to us in the past that we knew were either big T trauma or little t trauma, things that have happened that were traumatic. And we're working through those moments. Those show up when we're talking about technology. That shows up when you're talking to your kid about predators or hackers or whatever it is. That shows up in those conversations. And so when you're able to walk yourself through those difficult emotions, when you're able to be compassionate, to be open, to be loving, to be non-judgmental, to be understanding of the human need for intimacy and connection and love and community and closeness, it's easier, it's not easy, it's just easier to have those conversations with your kids without things being gone, like just going haywire essentially. Because so many emotions are involved. You love them, you want to protect them, you never want them to go through something, you don't want somebody to target them, you don't want somebody to seek them out. That's one of the worst things, that you're just feeling like, oh my God, like, did I fail as a parent? I feel like I wasn't doing enough, I don't know enough. And when you realize that everybody's going through that you're not a bad parent for not knowing technology, that you're not a bad parent for not understanding how Discord works or how the phone works, you're a step ahead, and you're going to be a step ahead because you realize that you don't need to know all of it, that you don't need to know more than your teen. You don't need to know more than your kids. And I know the industry and all of us and people who talk online and even in my own content many, many, many times, you might feel like, oh my God, I need to know technology. Oh my God, I need to know this new thing. Oh my God, why isn't there more controls on there? You cannot control your child, and no one else can control your child. We cannot control these companies. I firmly believe that the best way that we can all protect kids online is not shifting blame, meaning that it's not like, oh, well, 50% of the onus on protecting kids online is on Instagram and the other 50% is on the parents. It's like, no, that's not true. 100% is on the parents and 100% is on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Google, on Apple, on whatever it is, right? Each of us have a 100% responsibility based off of where we are to make sure that kids are protected based off of what we are doing. So when I'm posting content online, when I'm talking to parents, and I'm talking to teens, in those moments, I have the 100% responsibility to show up in a way that is as safe and as loving and open as possible. And everyone else needs to do the same as well. So the reason why I said that we're not really protecting kids online is because we get so caught up in the new thing that's happening, and we get so caught up in our own lack of self-worth and feeling like we're not enough and feeling like you need something outside of you to protect your kids online when you have everything that you ever need. I'm not saying that you're not going to need advice. I'm not saying that you're not going to need to know what's happening in the world. There are people like me. There are people like other people in the field. I can't even name everybody, but people in the field that are here to help you and guide you. But genuinely, you are the expert in your child. You're the expert in your situation. We can give you advice, and the more that we know, we can give you customized and personalized advice. And if you want that, go to my link in bio. We can chat about that. But we can give you that. We can give you direction and where you can go. But ultimately, you have every single thing that you need in order to protect your kids online. Sometimes it requires a cherry on top by installing a parental control app to make sure that your child has a safe environment inside of the digital world. Sometimes that means booking a call with someone like me to talk about a safety plan for your kids, to figure out, okay, how can I connect with my child through Instagram or TikTok or Discord or Roblox or Minecraft or Fortnite or whatever. I don't understand gaming. My child wants to become a gamer. They want to be a YouTuber. They want to be a TikToker. Please help me protect them or have this conversation with them. Obviously that's important, but the most important thing for all of us, no matter what, is to reconnect with ourselves and to get therapy. And when we say get therapy, it feels like an insult sometimes for certain people. And honestly, when someone tells me get therapy, I'd be like, what do you mean get therapy? What do you mean? What do you mean get therapy? Anyways, yeah. But obviously I'm like, yeah, I am. we all need therapy. Like you don't get therapy because your family's broken or your child is broken or your child is a bad child or whatever. Therapy is something that we all need. It's all necessary. There are different modes of therapy. It doesn't have to be where you're sitting across from somebody on the couch and you're talking about all your problems. There are many different modes of therapy, right? There is, I think it's EDMR. What is it called? I don't know. There's a lot of different forms of therapy. I really like RTT. There's somatic therapy. There's yoga therapy. There's obviously the sense of community and belonging. That's therapy. Joining a dance group, horseback riding, goat yoga. All of those are forms of therapy. You can do all. You can do one. You can journal. You can walk. You can talk to yourself. Talk to yourself is not bad. It's fine. There are many different modes of whatever you need. Sitting in silence and just listening to what your body is telling you. All of those things help you protect your kids online. And I'm going to talk a lot more about it. I'm going to be sharing a lot of more resources because my mom has been such a pivotal person in my own journey in being safe online as a teen. I'm most likely going to be having a lot more conversations with her and bringing her on. Maybe not on camera because she doesn't like being on camera all the time. She has been on camera, but she doesn't love it. So we're respecting boundaries over here. But just having those discussions is very, very important because it takes a lot more than just what we've all been talking about. It takes a lot more. And so therapists stand up, people who, whether it's holistic therapy, traditional as in American traditional therapy, whatever it is, whether it's therapy that you've been through, whatever it is, we all need to start having discussions about internet safety for kids because it goes beyond legislation, it goes beyond the big tech companies, it goes beyond what teens are doing because genuinely we are preparing teens for a world where they have to navigate it themselves. This is not just protecting kids online, but it is empowering kids to make choices that are best for them, that are safer for them, choices that they will not regret because they know it's best for their lives. They can understand where you're coming from, your point of view. That's essentially what we want to do. We want to empower them to make better choices. And I believe one of the reasons why teens are not listening, there are many different reasons, but one of the big reasons is that we're not listening. And then there's also a disconnect and there isn't a sense of safety. And so when we talk about safety, it feels like control. And I don't even like saying parental controls, but I say it because that's just the term that we use. And you get used to saying that. But I like safety features. I like parental features. I like things like that because control creates a mindset and an understanding that's not actually true because one, you cannot control no matter how much you try to control. And funny enough, the moment you let go of control, because you can't actually control, but whatever you think control is, the moment you let it go is the moment you most likely will have more control over the situation. The moment you surrender and you let go, you're in a much better place than if you feel like you have to have your hands in everything in control. That does not mean that you can't check in on your child's device. That does not mean that you don't put safety features, privacy and security features, parental features on your child's devices. It just means that you're much more intentional when you do it. You have conversations about why you're doing it. You're explaining when it ends, how it ends, why it ends, and why it's necessary. Because if your child doesn't have that understanding, does not have that background, it's much more difficult for them to understand where you're coming from. And you never want them to feel like it is myself against my parent or my parent against me. You always want it to be it's us against each other. Will there be moments where they are not going to like you, that they're going to scream, they're going to yell, they're going to shout, they're going to know, you're going to roll their eyes, they're going to whatever it is? Yes, obviously they're kids, they're teens, things happen. We've all been teens, we've all been kids before. It's just a part of, it's the name of the game. It just happens. But we want them to feel that no matter what, you are on their side, because we don't want them to feel more safe with a stranger online because they get them, they understand them, they're not judgmental, and they feel happier with them. Obviously, they're going to build a sense of community. There's someone who said, I saw this like last week, I believe, someone said, we don't really have third spaces in the United States, but for a lot of people, the internet, the online community is the third space. this is a space where your kids grow, where they have community, where they find connection, where they find understanding. And the more that we can understand that, and I understand that very well because I grew up in the online space and I developed my community here, the better it is. And the more we can protect them, the more that we allow them to show us their world, the more that we can figure out how we can add safety, add security to it. The more that we realize that we're all here to just support and help each other, the more that they realize that as well, that you're not there to control their lives and ruin it, then we're good. We can work from that. Everything's not going to always be hunky dory, but at least we can work with that mindset of that we're here together. And that is why I believe that we haven't been doing such a great job in protecting kids online, because we have such an outward focus on protecting kids online versus an inward focus, where everything that we're doing is outwardly focused of what can we do on the surface, but we never dig deep inside to figure out what do I need for myself to feel safe. And then how can that experience of building a safe space for me, how can I expand that to my kids in a way that's intentional, that meets them where they are, that allows them to understand that I am on their side. Not just open conversations, not just conversations where they don't feel, where they feel safe with you. Obviously that's great, but being super intentional about how you approach technology and then giving them an understanding that this is going to be your world and you're going to need to know how to navigate it. And I'm here as your guide. The more that we have that type of mindset, the better. The more we're less chasing darkness and expanding the light, the better. I always say, and this comes from my mother, there are so many different levels of darkness. Darkness never ends. It's darkness upon darkness and darkness, but there's only one light. And when you focus on darkness, you're chasing it. That becomes everything. You're enveloped in it. The harder it is for you to see the light and to become the light. And I know it's like talking in I don't think speaking in tongues is everyone, but like just maybe talking in code. But hopefully that's like that makes sense. That's understood, because when you're talking to teens and when you're talking to kids, and there's a lot of focus on the bad of the internet, the doom of the internet, the gloom of the internet, what starts to happen in their minds is that they tune you out. They tune you out because your view of the world doesn't match their view. And when someone's always talking negatively about something that you enjoy or something that you find something in, whether it's TikTok videos taught you more about history and the world and mathematics and English than any other class in school did, or if the community that someone built in an online form or an online game meant more to them because they were more open, less judgmental than the people in their school, whether that meant that the card games that they played online or the books that they read online or the books that they created through Wattpad or whatever was the outlet that they needed in order to let go of the stresses of the world. When you're combating that reality with the reality of predators and hackers and doom and gloom and targeting and grooming and that type of activity, it clashes. And so the more you can meet them where they are, and where they are is where they are. Like it's a real place. It's not that, oh, they're in La La Land. No, they're actually in reality, and so are you. Both are real realities. So when you're coming together to talk to kids, also find ways that you can make those experiences positive experiences that you're coming together, whether it's family game night, whether it's watching a movie, whether it's watching YouTube videos together, TikTok videos. You can compile TikTok videos that you think that they will like. You can have it in a folder and then share it with them later and be like, I saw this TikTok video. I think you would like this. Let's watch it together as a family. Whatever it is, whether it's like a good news story or like somebody who became famous overnight for something like really cool and really amazing, and you want to discuss that, whatever it is, that you're not putting so much focus on don't do this, don't do that, the bad of this, the bad of that we're also focusing on the good. And I'm working through that with myself as well, because I don't want to always create videos and content and send emails about all the bad, crazy things that are happening online. So I have saved videos and news stories that were great things that teens are doing online, great things that teens have found out online. And that, I believe, is when we start moving towards a world where we want to see, where where we're highlighting things that work and we're giving examples of how to stay safe online using things that are actually happening. So that's what I wanted to say. If it's your first time catching me live, then this entire channel is helping parents protect their kids online. This is more like a self-reflection moment of me trying to figure out, like, wow, you know, looking through 2023, I want to change something a bit for 2024. So that's what I've been thinking about. Let me know your thoughts and subscribe to this channel if you want to learn more about protecting your kids online. Using my background in being a gamer in cybersecurity and threat intelligence, I've made videos about Discord safety, Snapchat safety, Minecraft, Roblox safety, gaming safety, the whole 9 yards. So go check it out and let me know what you think.